as the world heats up, as we, face multiple countries becoming uninhabitable, there will be millions of people who are displaced and will have nowhere to go. And the rise of a sort of authoritarian, anti-foreigner politics is extremely dangerous, because we will become a fortress island in which we allow people to die around our borders. The climate movement is facing an onslaught. We've got injunctions, we've got ridiculously repressive policing at Palestine and climate demonstrations. We've got people going to prison for throwing soup that didn't even damage the paint. It is ridiculous what we're facing, but it is not going to stop us. There is nothing worse than losing everything. So we will continue to fight for our land, for our lives, for our joy, for our homes, for literally everything, because the climate crisis will affect everyone in a myriad of ways that are almost impossible to quantify, because ultimately it affects our ability to survive.
People gonna rise like the water, we're gonna shut this expansion down.
Over the summer, Labour's Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner signed off plans for the expansion of London City Airport. It was a decision which ignored the opposition from residents in East London and Newham Council and angered Green campaigners who say we need less air travel, not more. The Fossil-Free London group had been stopped from protesting outside the airport by an injunction. Peeps caught up with them when they took their banners to the offices of the Department for Transport.
So we're here today for three reasons. The first reason is that local people's voice has been ignored in opposing the expansion of London City Airport, and we want the Labour government to make sure they make the right decision to stop this expansion, as the locals have said. Secondly, there's a climate emergency, and the last thing we need is more luxury flights and private jets, which is what we're going to get from London City Airport. And thirdly, we're here because we were going to be at London City Airport outside for a peaceful, non-disruptive demonstration, but they injuncted our protest. They sent us an injunction by email to say, actually, you're not allowed anywhere near the airport, which is a terrible repression of protest rights. There's absolutely no reason that local people, that Londoners, shouldn't be able to voice their opposition. So yeah, we're shocked and horrified, and we also think the Labour government needs to do something about the massive rise in protest injunctions, because protest is a human right, and so is survival, and that's what we need to do in order to survive. We need to protest because the climate crisis is happening far more rapidly than anyone expected, and we need urgent action now.
There are jet flights, private jet flights, which go out from that airport, and the London City Airport wants to encourage more to come for weekend shopping, to fly in, to come for weekend shopping, and that's just disgraceful. So I'm here to support young people who are being poisoned basically by all the fumes. There's a few young children here today, and just think about what life they're going to grow up to if the pollution and the carbon emissions are not curbed. They'll have a far worse life than I did.
I mean, there is a lot of pressure on the NHS, and a lot of children growing up with poor lung capacity, and people developing adult onset asthma and heart problems and so on, and people don't seem to be able to connect airport expansion and private jets and flying with the impact on the general population's health.
I think being a climate campaigner is so difficult because we have so low faith in our politicians to do anything. At the first ever COP1, people said blah blah blah, and we're now at COP29, and it's still blah blah blah. The politicians do not take the action that they need, but here we stand, we can do no other. We must keep trying to pressure, we must keep trying to raise the cause, and more people are climate concerned. There's a record number of people in the UK now who want to see climate action, and the Labour government is not a strong government. They have a very low majority in many of their seats, so they'll be looking to Green voters, to voters who are concerned about climate change, to keep that majority in the next election. So we hope that now might be this time that they do listen to climate campaigners, and they stop playing this ridiculous culture war politics of demonising people who ultimately just want to live.
Corporations don't need to protest. They've got other ways of influencing politics. We don't control the media. We don't have the money to buy influence, to buy politicians. The only power we have is the power to assemble and demonstrate and protest. And what these laws are doing is they're taking away our ability to organise our agency, and that's why they have to be resisted, because they're a threat to all of us.
We're not even allowed to go to the airport. We just want to demonstrate peacefully, non-violently. And even that is not allowed. It's simply, it's outrageous, the level of criminalization of peaceful protest, to be honest. The population in Newham is obviously very much vulnerable to the emissions, to the noise, and we certainly want, it's already in a bad state now, and we don't want it to get worse.
We think that the corporations, the big oil corporations and those who are like a major part of the demand, like airports, they are the cause of this climate emergency that we're facing, and it's their power that absolutely needs to be challenged. So we create a popular movement of resistance against them in order to spread the message that actually these companies should have no social license, they should not have a seat at the table of politics, they should not be able to just say they're going to do renewables and then just cancel it, and they should be made to pay for the damage that they've caused and give reparations to those communities like in the Niger Delta who suffer because of their oil extraction. And it's just the same with London City Airport. Where does all this oil go? It goes into massive planes, private jets that cause 20 to 30 times more emissions, and so we're keen to take on these companies. I think there's a real problem in which the narrative of climate crisis is really individualised. So everyone feels guilty and hypocritical and almost doesn't want to engage with it. That's propaganda. We need to fight against that. It's not individuals who are responsible, although we can do our bit. It is global corporations and big governments who've known the problem for decades, covered it up and done nothing, and now's the time to say no.